So, some of my million viewers have been asking what Lyme disease is. Since I grew up 60 miles from Lyme, Connecticut, it never occurred to me that people wouldn't know what it is. Um, it's named after the town Lyme. There's no apostrophe S. Apostrophe S. No apostrophe S. Lyme, singular, not possessive disease, because a bunch of people in Lyme, Connecticut started to get similar horrible symptoms, and then they figured out it was from the deer tick. The ticks, the mice get the ticks. They transport it to the deer, who transport it to the grass, which the humans walk through. And then one day, you find this. You never find it, say, on your forearm or even your knee, somewhere where you would see it. You find it, well, or someone else finds it, like under your butt or below your neck, or that one spot on your back that you can't possibly reach. Or in my case, it was under my breast, so like you'd have to be inspecting yourself to find it. And then it has that, it's a, you have this visceral, disgusted, repellent, you want to jump away from it, but you can't because its head is in your skin. So it's in there, in your skin, sucking your blood, but also puking, and it releases a neurotoxin so that you don't feel it. It numbs you. The bite that numbs while it's biting. So that's what happens. The thing is, this is not life size. This is life size. You see that? You see these are your hairs on your body, like little white hairs somewhere like on your upper groin where you can't see. And then that tiny, it's like the size of your hair follicle right there. That's how big they are in the spring, which is when most people get them, because they're so tiny. There's so many because they're babies. They're called nymphs. Isn't that innocent sounding? Nymphs. And they just have just as much bacteria as this one. And so you get bit by the tick, but one of the important parts of Lyme disease, unless you're in Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, some other parts of New England, and sometimes Virginia, the next part is you go into denial. You get all these symptoms, like headaches, neuralgia, fatigue. Neuralgia just means like different parts of your body can feel numb or tingly or weird. And you get diagnosed with a bunch of different things. Some people call it the great mimicker because of the denial and the lack of education. You think it's something else. So when it bites you, it can there's a longer list, but these are the ones that my husband got. You get these bacteria in one bite. So there's the Lyme bacteria, which is really called Borrelia burgdorferi, and that causes neurological problems and musculoskeletal problems. Babesiosis, Babesia microti, and that causes fever, anemia, and death. Ehrlichiosis, caused by Anaplasma phagocytophia, and that causes fever, headache, and death. and I would add anxiety and OCD. Rocky Mountain, and it's not just me, but also the psychiatrists and psychologists who have started a group called Microbes and Mental Illness would agree with me. Rocky Mountain spotted fever caused by rickettsia causes fever and death. Tick paralysis, that's when they bite you and they numb you. That goes, their saliva with the neurotoxin goes in your body too, and that causes fatigue and death. Tularemia, caused by Francisella tularensis, that causes ulcers, lymphatic problems, and death. And Bartonella quintana, maybe it started in the Yucatan, causes fever, neuralgia, and rage. Some people call it Lyme rage, but people in the know, people who are very close to it, live with it and get to know it, and the doctors call it Bart rage. Picture it with a little hair in triangles. Notice something in common about all these infections? They all have women's names. Interesting to notice. And the other thing is a lot of them cause death. They can go in your heart, some of them, and that causes Lyme carditis, and then you die. And yet, you know, it's Valentine's Day today, and I was up until midnight making sugar cookies for my daughter's class. The whole time I was asking, why am I doing this? But it's so she can belong and not be the only kid that doesn't show up with cookies. And the teacher said, I can't believe your mother didn't know. I emailed and I mentioned it at the parent meeting. And what she should have said, because we're dealing with this, these are similar things that you get when you have cancer, like death, is, wow, I can't believe your mother knows it's Thursday. I'm impressed. Let's have a meal train and include some sugar cookies with pink icing on it. Okay, so about Lyme, it looks like this. See this? It's a corkscrew. There's one other bacteria that looks like that, and that is syphilis. So you not only can get it by the tick bite, you can get it from having sex with someone who's had a tick bite, or from being born to someone who's had a tick bite. And because it's shaped like this, it can go into your brain, into your thyroid, and it just bores in. So it goes really deep in the organs. Isn't that fun? So in my husband's case, now I don't know scientifically exactly how it worked, but it went in and it ate his thyroid. These are bite marks. I mean, it might not really look like that. And it ate whatever makes the testosterone. So he had low testosterone. So that makes, and who knew? But testosterone controls your mood, your memory, your bone mass and your muscle mass, and a bunch of other stuff if you are male. It's kind of important. So he was falling asleep at 8. I just thought, you know, life was hard and caught up with him. And also, when you get a lot of things boring into your brain swells up. I think that is my summary of Lyme disease. The parts you might not have known are it's shaped like this. It can be sexually transmitted. Denial is it's almost diagnostic. And one thing I haven't mentioned is that 6 times as many people have Lyme as HIV, but we're not really doing any research on it. And 1.5 times as many people have it as breast cancer. I have not seen a Lyme march yet, except in London. They had one to try to get the NHS to cover it better because the rich people were going to Germany to get treated. And maybe you didn't know you could die from it, but a lot of people do. Also, people, because of the depression that's caused maybe from the low testosterone and the no thyroid and the anemia and the brain swelling, they commit suicide. That's what we're dealing with here. And I got all this information from LymeDisease.org and living through it. The most important part is no S on the end of Lyme. And it's nothing that a couple $1 million couldn't fix. He could spend all his time doing healthcare stuff and he'd probably get over it. At least have it manageable. This woman also has a good description of it. She had it for 25 years before they figured it out. What porachista cockbour. If you have something and they don't know what it is, check for Lyme, because you probably never saw that ballpoint pen prick size tick on you. Okay, I hope you're more enlightened about Lyme now.